participants or webinar participants, if you have any questions or if you want to say something in line with the two panel talks or panel discussions, you're free to do so by chatting your question on the chat box. And if time permits, we will be answering those questions live. So once again, good afternoon, Architect Nito and Architect Yap. Um, Actually, the two topics that were discussed were really an eye opener for some of us, especially for those who are one enjoying the premises of any sustainably designed hospitality and tourism establishment. Whenever they see green or the color green in any of these establishments, they would normally say to themselves that these are sustainably designed or the planning and management of these establishments are sustainably done as well. And second would be those people who have been into these sustainable tourism destinations or sustainable establishments. They are wanting to see more, and they are asking themselves up to how long will the establishment sustain these sustainable practices. And we have seen some of those examples on your two presentations. So actually, I would like to start the panel talk with this question. And any of the two can answer this one. We do know that hospitality and tourism establishments that are designed with in line with sustainable practices are often advantage as to current hospitality and tourism establishments that are designed otherwise. But we do know and we do accept the fact that there are some limitations or drawbacks on developing these establishments in a sustainable manner or an environmentally friendly manner. So my question is, what are some challenges or limitations that some architects or developers face when incorporating sustainable practices into hospitality projects, especially when we consider materials, costs, the overheads, and adaptability to our climate? And I think we could start the panel talk by asking Architect Yap on this.
Okay. Sorry, this is the first question. No, you would like us to like the
Yes.
architectural the currently transforming the hospitality and tourism industry. Okay. I am not more of like I don't really like follow trends to be honest, yeah. Because I think when you do like when you follow trends it's really like the aim is to really promote the products. Yeah. But of course, when you say sustainability, because it doesn't really have to entail using modern, state of the art materials or equipments. Yeah, it's really more on like going back to basic. Because to be honest, say the island of Mindoro, yeah, you're in the island, so for you to be able to get certain materials that say modern, state of the art, or trending, yeah, it's not really sustainable to use those kind of materials that way. Yeah, of course, solar, it's something that they cannot produce in their locality. Yeah, so I think the trend now is really when you say green, it's something that making the most out of the existing. Yeah, in European countries, they appreciate making use of old structures and turning it into something new. Yeah, that's one. Yeah, and then in Green Verde rating system or any rating system, they give higher points to the structures or any projects that uses repurposed like structure or materials. Yeah. So I think that's more beautiful because it has story. Because for you to be able to have certain kinds of story takes time. So there's soul in that certain project. I think we can also use that as a trend because this is something that in other countries they appreciate that. People go there that really appreciate the history and that culture and the soul of the place, yeah, is in there. So I think that is something that we can also like adapt and make use of the local materials or existing structures and make it trendy. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, sorry, I don't know if I was able to like answer your question.
Thank you for that, Architect Yap. But we would like to hear more about what are the challenges that most architects and developers face in developing these not these establishments that are on the trend right now, especially those cases wherein um, planning, managing, or even building them is of an issue.
Architect Mark, would you like to answer that, or I can?
Uh, let's hear it from Architect Nito about that.
Okay, sige. Maraming salamat, Sir RJ. So, I think the challenges, not only in a private or government sector, is the buy-in on the bosses, on the principle of sustainability. Minsan, the sustainability principle is more on applied in other countries rather than dito sa atin. So, I think yun muna yung isa na nakikita kong challenges on our part as an architect to implement that principle. So, number two, alam naman natin si budget. Usually, we are constrained in a budget. So, you are constrained in planning kung ano yung mga specifications and ano yung mga dapat on a greener ano yan, specification. So also, I think I'm answering from a government perspective. So policy, I think so the existing policy should be highlighted. I think mas bigyan ng pansin ang mga policy o batas na nag-i-initiate or nagpapakita ng kailangan gawin on climate change and sustainability, especially on buildings such as hotels and resorts. So that's all po muna. I think that's one of the three points that hinders an architect or a planner to implement such principles. Thank you, Sir Jay.
Thank you. Thank you, Architect Nito and Architect Yap on that. No, we do agree on some limitations no, of developers and architects with regards to building sustainably designed hospitality and tourism establishments. And it is also in the helm of the government to regulate them and to provide assistance and guidance as well. Making sure the plan goes well or the plan is implemented well. That's areas. We are in Archipelago. We have 7,000 islands, and that is our unique selling point. Our islands, our destinations in every island, and how do we connect to them? But there is one drawback on marketing tourism destinations, and that is our weather calendar. As we speak, there is the northern part of our country, and we have been victims of numerous typhoons in the past. And we are not only us first people, but also these establishments are victims also of natural calamities, not only typhoons, which leads me to my next question. With climate change posing new risks to coastal communities or coastal areas, wherein most of our hospitality establishments are placed or are located along the beach or along the say the beachfront or even beyond the beachfront or some islands or islets. No, they are located in such locations. What are some innovative approaches to designing not only sustainably designed establishments, but resilient hospitality infrastructure that can withstand these environmental pressures? Architect Ito?
Okay, thank you, Sir Jay. So I'll be answering in my two hat. Number one, as an architect, and number two, as a DRM practitioner. So as an architect, of course, alam naman natin yan na when we design, we should adapt on a existing geographic location. So of course, in local areas, especially on mga near bodies of water, we should design that maiwasan yung pagbaha in that area and still design. So may mga tawag tayo ng ganyang klase ng building. And on the DRM perspective naman, and also a planner, number one, before we construct a or a hotel or a building, we should always, number one, to study the location. We should always study the hazard, the exposure, and the vulnerability of the building that we will erect. So, not I'll be answering not only for the infrastructure side, but I think one as a DRR practitioner, I think one of the main focus of a hotel manager or an owner, not only its infrastructure side, but also its preparedness on disasters. Meron ba tayong business continuity plan when this hazard happened, when this typhoon strike? So are we ready? Are the employee trained to respond to this situation, to cater the stakeholders and the clients? So I think that's my answer in the part of infrastructure and in the part of employee and the preparedness of a hotel. Sir, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Architect Nita. How about you, Architect Yap? What's your take on this? Having to not only think about sustainably designed establishments, but also making them resilient.
Okay, it is more like going back to the basics and making sure that the design was made by a proper professional, no? Because with the proper professional, we really like consider like different aspects, so that just to make sure that the building is like sturdy and can withstand the forces of climate, yeah, the forces of nature, yeah. So the most important consideration in planning, especially when designing in coastal areas, are wind and sun path, no? Also making sure to follow the local and national codes, such as example, salvage zone, which are non-buildable, yeah, because there's a reason why we cannot build in those areas because it's not safe, yeah. But for some, Matigas Udo, yeah, because they want to enjoy the view and more access to the coast and all that, yeah. So because of course, in the later on, kayo rin yung maapektuhan. So if we don't follow these like codes, then sorry, di ba? So some are just yeah, like with my client, no, I'm having a difficult time encouraging them because they're really after the afternoon sun. But the afternoon sun, the sunset will only take like what, 2 minutes, and then but you will really like suffer because the afternoon sun is just really right in front of you, like so so they say, oh, okay lang, we have air conditioning system and all that, yeah. So we also need to educate client, yeah, like the impacts of this, yeah. So if they want afternoon sun, just walk there and then take a picture of the sunset or sit there when it's afternoon, but facing your structure in the afternoon sun, hindi siya energy efficient, eh. Yeah, and also like like putting windows in front of the like southwest portion, yeah, it's really hot, yeah, so it's not sustainable that way. Yeah, so like planning and balancing this and also educating the client makes a lot of difference. And um like say we always say that, oh, we have to use natural materials and all that. We have to also consider that natural materials also has to withstand, like making sure that it's strong enough to withstand the natural forces of nature, yeah, in the event na magkaroon tayo ng typhoon and storm surge. Thank you.
Thank you. And also, I think there are some attendees here or webinar participants that are students as well and are enrolled or currently taking facilities planning course. So this will be a huge boost for them in studying the location before really building resilient infrastructure. Thank you very much, Architect Yap, for that. Before we get to the usual round of questions, we do have some questions that are coming in from our live chat. And I would just like to ask, I think Architect Yap will be the best person to answer this. No? Miss Ella Ruta, one student, a tourism student, asks, Good afternoon. Here's my question. What is your take about some opinions that the use of bamboo and other natural materials are not actually sustainable and will eventually have an effect to deforestation?
Okay. Yeah, like actually like bamboo is one of my like favorite material. I mean, there's a reason why we promote bamboo because it's easy to grow. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to water it. You don't have to, and it grows fast. Yeah. So that's why it's sustainable because it grows fast and you can always and you don't have to like plant it. It's just like in everywhere. Yeah. It's like grass that's just like so making use of these natural materials that doesn't really have to take a lot of time to grow. Yeah, it's sustainable. Yeah, and there's a lot of organization that promotes this and they make sure actually these days medyo nauubusan na ng supply, no? Kasi actually they plant a lot so that to sustain the need of bamboo. Kasi nga it's sustainable. So if we have enough, so we can promote using that material. So it's not really like uh it's not really like destructive, like it doesn't really ano tawag dito like um sorry, I'm running out of words. But it's not like a deforestation or something, yeah. So it's really like a sustainable in a way na mas mabilis siyang mag-grow.
So it's like since bamboo are not really need time for tending, no, you can really just use them without worrying about harming the environment or the place where the bamboo naturally grows.
Yeah, exactly.
I see. I hope Ella, your question was answered by architect. Yeah, we still have another question here coming from Clade Justin. Uh, the question goes like this: about post-architecture sustainability, paano kaya yun matatawag na sustainable? I'm reading in verbatim, matatawag na sustainable if the establishment has directly knocked the land po or yung space for that specific establishment. Hindi po ba makaka-affect din po yun directly sa surrounding? I think the question is about um, getting space that is intended for nature to grow and is used for development. Is that really a sustainable practice or not? So, I don't know if the question has a tone like that. But Architect Tito, would you like to share your insights about this?
Okay. Thank you, Sir Jay. I think, ayan, maganda yung question kasi I think usually nagiging practice din to sa atin, sa ating bansa. So, uh, when we establish a certain building, we submitted certain permits, especially on DNR clearance. So, for your question, I think and should be every building should submit their building permits, their clearances, especially on DNR. Kasi si DNR yung nagbibigay ng clearance if that certain lot or that certain establishment will not affect the surrounding. So a building will not be built agad-agad o kaya kung kailan lang natin gustuhin without proper clearance from the government. So just to add, siguro, I think it should be strengthened, especially in LGUs, in cities, that these clearances and this permit should always be followed to ano yan, to minimize the damages on surroundings. Ayun lang sa akin, sa end, sir. Thank you.
So it's more on like zoning clearances from the local government unit if the land that is supposed to be developed is really intended for tourism development. Am I correct, Architect Tito?
Yes, sir.
Mm. Okay. So, Clay, thank you very much for that question, and I hope your question has been answered by Architect Nito. Now, let's go back to our usual round of questions um, from from impacts and challenges. Let's move on now to the addition of technology in promoting sustainable design. As what the title of our episode for today, hospitality and tourism design of tomorrow. Um, of course, when we talk about tomorrow, we always think about technology and the addition of artificial intelligence and such. So, which leads me to my next question. What role does technology play in sustainable architecture within the industry? That is the tourism and hospitality industry. And within your radar, are there any emerging technologies that you believe will be critical in shaping future hospitality infrastructure? Anyone would like to share their insights about this question? Architect, yeah?
Yeah. Hi. Yeah. I think the automation, no, automation system, because like it really like conserves a lot of energy when you apply that in your structure. Yeah. The automation system that, like certain lights automatically shuts down, or certain uh like air conditioning system, or I mean these automation systems, malaking bagay to eh. I mean, we have to make use of the technology, yeah, to really help us, because we don't have to like control these things manually, but if we integrate that in the structure and building, it our structure will become more efficient, yeah. So I mean, application for like water and energy efficiency mostly, yeah. And also of course, internet system like upgrade the high, like these are just like wonderful things, yeah, that we are lucky to have as of the moment. So we embrace it, we make use of it, and to also like help the environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Architect. Yeah. And I think some of the establishments are embracing already technological advancements in presenting their products, especially sustainable hospitality products to their clients. Thank you. Thank you, Architect. Yeah. How about you, Architect Nico? On your side, on disaster resilience and the government side, what do you think are some technological advancements that would be really helpful in future hospitality infrastructure?
Okay, thank you, Sir Jay. So, I think, well, currently, meron na rin naman tayong artificial intelligence. So I'm thinking that maybe someday, just like we are computing the bill of materials of a structure, we can also compute using AI the carbon footprint of a building through an AI app. So before we submit a permit, it should be run in a simulation where it can the AI itself will compute the entirety of the building if it will pass or it will contribute a lot in the carbon footprint calculator. So and also some of the hotels nowadays are using the smart technologies for energy management. So I think this will be the future to limit the consumption by using the AI or another other technologies, sir.
Thank you for that, Architect Nico. And I personally experienced that. We're in one hotel room, uh, uses air conditioning systems that automatically shuts down or closes when you open the door towards the veranda. So that's one example of a technological advancement that I personally noticed or experienced. Now, in the interest of time, we shall be reserving the last two questions to our two resource speakers. And having to discuss this topic is really an eye opener, and at the same time, it entices our imagination, especially to our webinar participants for today. Now, as a parting thought, we shall be devoting these last two questions as a parting thought and call to action to our participants about embracing hospitality and tourism infrastructure and design for tomorrow. Um, One question, and this is a follow-up to my previous question. Now that some technological advancements are being done by hospitality and tourism establishments, and as the hospitality industry becomes more sustainable, how can hotels, resorts, and other tourism establishments effectively communicate what they are doing in their establishment? What specific sustainable practices would they wanted to communicate to their stakeholders, and even to the guests? And how can they do it without seeming overly commercial or inauthentic? Because there are some cases wherein hotels and resorts can easily say that they are practicing sustainable practices or they are doing sustainable practices. It's very easy to say, but it takes really a lot of courage and time for the guests to really see the sustainable practices. And how do they communicate it to the guests? Architect Nito?
Okay, the first point I would like to share, to communicate, of course, in DepEd, we have our own stakeholders, the learners. We should disseminate information through IEC, the information and communication. Just like in hotels, I think some hotels can benchmark other hotels which practicing that sustainable principles. And and also, I think I lost my idea. I'll be back later when Architect Yap answered. Sorry.
That's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay, Architect
Okay.
Nito. Architect, yeah?
Yeah. I appreciate, whenever I stay in hotels, I appreciate these little notes that, like that they put in the towels, like, okay, saying that, if we need, there's a need to change it, please put it in this area. If not, we appreciate it, and blah blah blah. Because I mean, this makes a lot of sense, because of course you cannot always like talk to your guests, yeah, while they're sleeping. Na, you need towel or that. But these little notes, like tags that they put in hotels, makes, I mean, the guest appreciates that, yeah. So you're also conscious that, okay, why do they have to use towels, what you only used once, yeah. So the guests are happy to contribute in these little things, and like, rather than, if this is also always a practice, to always change it, but it doesn't make sense, then really education, like, you really have to educate them, and like these little notes, it works, yeah. So it's a simple practice, but it works. So yun lang, thank you.
Thank you, Architect Yap. And this is commonly practiced on most hospitality establishments. No, it's a simple card, asking if you want your bed to be made again or if you want your towels to be replaced again.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you very much. Architect Tito, would you like to add to that?
Okay, I just remember what Architect Yap presented a while ago, that the common, yung gas-gas na, we should practice what we preach really. If we tell the clients that we support sustainability, the hotels should also provide materials or equipments that sustainable. And the word is greenwashing. Hopefully, we should not practice greenwashing in terms of sustainability. We were saying that we're sustainable, but at the back end, we're not doing the right thing. So I think it should be the what I presented a while ago, the ESG, the environmental, social, and the governance. So every establishment so should have their ethics, especially on sustainability and in their businesses.
Thank you, Architect Mark.
Thank you to our two architects. One last question. Since most of our webinar participants are aspiring and future tourism and hospitality professionals, we see also we can also claim that one or two of them will be planners or will partake in the planning of a new resort in the future. So our last question for this panel talk would be: what advice would you like to give to our aspiring designers interested in specializing sustainable hospitality and tourism infrastructure? So for this question, I think we could just leave like one lasting sentence or one impressive sentence on what specific skill would they like to have before partaking in the endeavor. Architect, yeah.
Okay, just familiarize yourself. Yeah, like I learned sustainability by like a training seminar. I was fortunate because it's free. Yeah, but actually it's not a rocket science. Yeah, so you just familiarize yourself, and then you realize that you're already including it in your practice without really like knowing it. So if you embed that in your practice, like at the start of your career, it's a wonderful thing. Yeah. So like the future will appreciate your what you're gonna do for them. Yeah. Thank you.
I couldn't agree more. Familiarizing yourself with what you are doing because it is not rocket science. Thank you very much, Architect Yap. Architect Nito.
Thank you, Sir Jay. So, ayan, sige. Before I answer that question, I would like to thank for this opportunity to sharing for our participants and all of you guys. So, for the aspirant, this may be harsh word, but don't be selfish. Everything that you do, especially when planning, establishing a building, you should think about the stakeholders, the community, our government. I mean, the entirety. It's not always for ourselves, but the service for others. So, yan. Don't be selfish. Ayan. So, work with ethics. That's what we always say. Work with ethics. Thank you, sir.
Don't be selfish and always work ethically. That's something from that's some tidbits of wisdom from Architect Nito. Thank you very much. Would you like to give everyone a virtual round of applause to our two resource speakers for today? Delving on the hospitality and tourism design of tomorrow, Architect Marichu Yap and Architect Mark Anthony Nito. Okay. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat for joining with us in this third episode. And would like also to virtually share to you or show